Episode number 42 of the MetaMentors Sensorium Galaxy. Steve Aoki, David Guetta, Armin van Buren, Carl Cox, Charlotte DeWitt, Black Coffee, and others collaborate in a 24/7 EDM festival of AI-generated DJs.
I've seen it. This place, where nothing is measured. Unique frequencies travel without distance. The old world, forgotten. An analog relic. A different reality. Just vibration. Where I become music and color. Senses pushed to their limits.
Any goal is possible. Destination limited.
Visual, visceral. This is the new world, where we go as one. Where we go when the lights go out.
Sensorium Galaxy is a next-generation social VR platform revolutionizing digital communications through a sense of presence. Feel closer than ever to the people you love and the things you enjoy. Thousands of high-quality VR activities available to awaken senses and drive more frequent, diverse, and stronger human connections. That's a pretty bold statement, Ben, and I think this project's doing it. Let's get into some of the details of it before we start on the story and team. What is Sensorium? Founded in 2018, Sensorium overviews the technological development of Sensorium Galaxy platform and supplies it with a wide range of events and experiences. It's a leading VR and AI players come together to create and deliver the most remarkable virtual experiences. So remarkable that they were able to raise $100 million in private investments, although it was not verified. And there's going to be some connections there that I'm going to touch on. What is Sensorium Galaxy? Sensorium Galaxy is a social VR platform that brings people closer together. We just talked a little bit about that. Through an immersive high-end events and entertainment. That's definitely this project. As its name suggests, Sensorium Galaxy consists of multiple worlds. Each world's own galaxy acts as a content hub for specific types of activities. We went over a few of those, the lounge, prism, motion. You're going to get into those, so I'm not going to waste too much time. Let's jump right over to the team and the founder. So here is the owner and the founder. This is a billionaire Russian oligarch who is, as this article says, an unlikely investor in the virtual reality entertainment industry. His fortune originates from the messy Russian privatization era in the early 1990s. I don't know if you remember much about that, Ben, but if I was to give that one word for that stuff that was going on back then, it would be crooked, at least from my point of view. He founded the Axiom Bank with fellow billionaire oligarch Vladimir Putin, not the current president, Ben. At the time, the bank handled loans to the government and bankrupt state enterprises and eventually got control of Norilsk Nickel, a metals giant which the two men sold in 2008 to another Russian billionaire. That year, this creator of Sensorium was on the Forbes World's Billionaire list at $19.5 billion. Since then, it's dropped. He was also the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, the NBA team. He bought it for a pretty darn good price, and then sold it in 2019 for $3.3 billion to another billionaire. So lots of billionaires running around. This guy, so anyways, he starts Sensorium. He's in deep. There's some, like, the $100 million they raised is unverified from what I was reading. So there's some interesting lore behind it, I guess you could say. But he has some really strong connections. You look like you're going to say something there, Ben.
No, I was just looking to see who he sold it to.
Did you catch that? It's the
co-founder
owner
of
of
Alibaba.
Alibaba. Yeah. One of the many interesting connections with this project, Sensorium Galaxy, and its billionaire Russian owner, is a connection with Rock Nation, which is owned by Jay-Z. And Rock Nation invested in the Senso Token. They like what Sensorium Galaxy is doing so much that they went in and bought $7 million worth of Senso Tokens. Jay-Z ends up selling that company that owns the tokens, Tidal, to Twitter's previous owner, Jack Dorsey there. But they like the project so much that, according to the CEO of Rock Nation, Sensorium Galaxy is well positioned to take the entertainment industry to the next level. Their digital metaverse has a strong focus on quality, which is exactly what we want for our extensive artist base. Perez goes on to say that the purchase of Senso Tokens by Rock Nation is them, Rock Nation, taking a step forward into the future of entertainment. So they are calling Sensorium Galaxy and what they're doing the future of entertainment, and are specifically talking about, joining their artists onto Sensorium Galaxy. That's huge news, far as I'm concerned, right? One of the most impressive things about this project to me, Ben, is the collaborations that they put together. The team is fairly unknown, but the collaborations are some of the biggest names within EDM music festivals, events, DJs. Like, they are top collaborators, top, what's the word I'm looking for? Event planners. So this is the CEO here. We're going to hear a little bit from her, but also some of the collaborators. So let's take a look at this.
Within Sensorium Galaxy, we are creating a digital metaverse that revolutionizes the way people interact with each other and experience the arts. In the alternate universe of Sensorium Galaxy, users immerse themselves in exciting new worlds to get together with their friends, their loved ones, meet new people, and participate in unique virtual activities. In Sensorium Galaxy virtual worlds, we let the users set free from the earthly limitations and expand their personal boundaries. With an assistance of a VR headset, desktop, or mobile device, users are free to move around the world and explore them.
I've been working in video games for over 50 years. So even though this thing we're building now is not a game, it's about interactivity, it's about social interaction as well. But we're still applying everything we know from gaming. It's like the full experience. With everything you have hands and legs, you have a body, you have a voice. We're sort of like involving almost all your senses.
The Galaxy consists of various virtual worlds that act as content hubs, with the first two worlds to be launched, Prism and Motion, being dedicated to music and entertainment experiences.
The very first experience we're building for the Sensorium Galaxy is an experience called Prism. It's a very unique beast, like the highest end of a club you could go to on crack in space.
The Galaxy is being built in partnership with the world's leading artists, producers, and entertainment companies. Among them is Jan Pissanen, the creator of world's famous nightlife hubs, Ushuaia Ibiza and High Ibiza.
So some really impressive collaborators there, and interesting comments or ways to describe your actual clubs.
Electronic dance music nightclub on crack in space. Something like that.
That's exactly what you heard.
Right.
I'm not able to compare it to that, but I'll take his word for it. So yeah, you can see from the little bit of video there, but the teams that they're collaborating with are incredible, top of the line from all that it appears. So that to me gives a project a lot of credibility, which is partly why it got a decent rating when I did the QOPR score. So last but not least, you've got the DJs, and these are some of the biggest DJs in the industry. And some of these I've, over the years I've listened to. I'm a fan of the electronic dance music. So I've listened to a few of these. Some of these I hadn't ever heard of, like Black Coffee here. I was listening to his music, and I really, really like his. So I'll definitely be putting him in the playlist. But point being, you get entertainers like this involved in a project, and you've got multiple entertainers here that are that their names are recognized throughout the world. You're going to draw attention to your project, which is a lot of, we talk about drawing people from the Web 2 area into the Web 3 area. Name recognition is one of the quickest ways to do that.
Name recognition and collaborations with people like Jay-Z. That'll do it.
Yeah, that's a big name drop there. All of these appear to be or are. So that is what I have on the team and the story leading into Sensorium Galaxy. So I'll give it over to you for the experience.
All right. Well, first and foremost, if you go to sensoriumgalaxy.com, you'll notice that it's got great graphics. It's got an interactive website right off the bat, ton of great stuff, interactive, just a fully completed website, which a lot of these projects we have, they've got real Web 2 themed websites that don't have a lot going on. This one has a ton of stuff. In fact, it starts using a lot of your computing power right off just because the graphics are so processor heavy. It's got 3 world. I guess the point of that was it uses Unreal Engine 4 to run this game. So that's why the graphics are so good. You'll see, especially when they're doing the motion capture and the putting the real people into the world, they do everything they can to get every subtle face change, everything to make it feel as real as possible. It's capable with something like Unreal Engine 4. If you've seen those videos on YouTube where they zoom out from Earth and they zoom all the way into a single leaf and that leaf is blowing. I mean, just what you can do with that process is it's amazing. So it uses Unreal Engine 4 for these experiences. And these experiences, there's different worlds in this galaxy. Right now, there's 3 of them: the Starship, the Prism, and Motion. Starship is basically where everybody starts, which makes sense. You get into the Starship, that's what takes you to these worlds. That's kind of like the opening game lobby where you interact with people, you see what's going on in the certain ones. It's like the starting point for all of your Sensorium Galaxy experiences. In there, you're able to talk with people, with other people, with AI generated people, the avatars, and see what's going on and decide which world you want to go into. The 2 worlds that have stuff going on, in fact, right now, mostly it's just Prism, but they've got big plans for Motion coming up. In Prism world, Prism is the first virtual world inside the Sensorium Galaxy. It will be hosting performances by the musical artists, like what Ryan said. They call the Earth artists, the actual people, they call them the chosen ones. So the people like Steve Aoki and David Guetta and Ryan's new favorite, Black Coffee.
Yeah.
They do pre-recorded concerts, and they use that with the motion capture that we saw at the trailer at the very beginning of this. So to make it as lifelike and as Steve Aoki-like as possible, with the facial movements, with the dance moves, everything like that is as real as you can possibly do in this metaverse. But there's also virtual artists. So They have artificially intelligent DJs, dancers, and performers who use generative music to create dynamic and constantly changing content. So they're making electronic music as they go. Like Ryan said, there's a 24/7 live stream of this music going all the time where this AI DJ is just constantly making new stuff, just constantly taking the music, the beat, the tones, doing its own thing with it. It's just creating its own music nonstop, 24/7. And then in addition to that, they bring in these earth artists that they call the chosen ones to do these special concerts and stuff like that. So when you're in there, when you're in these concerts, you're obviously using your avatar. Your avatar can go around and interact with other people's avatars, with other real life. In certain instances, when they do meet and greets or behind the scenes, stuff like that, you can actually interact with the artist. So they've got these AI generated NPCs, and real users can meet them, interact with them, talk to them, converse with them. They're actually using AI technology, so they'll talk back to you. One of the things that kind of caught my eye when I was reading it was they can meet, interact, and date with them at all times. So 24/7, anytime that they're in there, you can go in there. So this AI technology makes these NPCs super realistic and allows them to dynamically adapt to the user preferences. So if you say, "Oh, hey, I like Ninja Turtles," and they go, "Oh, Ninja Turtles are cool," they blah 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 blah, and they kind of adapt to the stuff that you like, and so they use those user preferences to become their ideal virtual companions over time. So then it felt like they were just making a virtual world Tinder inside this also, so if you're looking for an avatar girlfriend, then you don't even have to find a real world person's avatar. You could just go find one that's been AI empowered. So
Yeah, that's crazy. You could that you can have a face. I mean, you could FaceTime with your AI generated avatar and talk about Ninja Turtles for hours.
right, I wonder what they know about. I wonder where they're pulling their information from. If they can
Yeah,
just tap into the internet and know everything, because
have to be, I would
it's
guess.
pretty interesting. And there's a ton of movies out there like Her with Joaquin Phoenix, where they fall in love with their AI or their computer generated, they're basically their robot or their avatar. So it's like, I feel like, okay, this is one step closer. When Ryan and I were talking about ranking this on our QOPR score, I think he said it best when he's like, yeah, this is definitely the kind of stuff that brings around the fall of humanity. So give it a high score, because people are going to be into it. And that seems to be very accurate, because
Yeah.
this stuff is so crazy that that if you're a sane human being and you think that it's crazy, that means welcome to Earth. It's about to be the most popular thing, probably.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly how I was feeling. Yep. That's a good way to describe it.
If you walk outside every day and go, what is wrong with this world? Yeah, this is what's wrong with it. And it's only getting
Yeah.
more and more advanced and harder to separate reality from the virtual world.
Yeah, I don't know whether to be concerned or excited that I can just get an AI avatar and have him take over this spot on the show for me and do a much better job than I can.
Isn't that crazy? But in reality, you're not far from it. And we're going to get into the mobile experience and the avatars with the AI in this next section. But there's a lot of crazy stuff that is possible with this. It's kind of like when we first tapped into AI doing Fluff World. You remember that, where they were talking
Yes.
about
Yeah.
them learning and being able to really start processing and putting stuff together while you're not playing them.
Yeah.
Like when you're offline and they're off doing their own thing.
All I could see was Terminator clips.
Exactly. So the second one, Motion World. Now, when I was reading about Motion World, they were talking, somebody on the team said, the lack of content is really what's holding the the virtual reality world back, the AI and VR worlds back. There's just not enough stuff on there to warrant having one of those masks on your face all day, every day. So that's one of the things that they're trying to fix, is they're trying to make all sorts of experiences virtual reality where you can participate from home, like dance parties, like nightclubs, like basic interacting, like business meetings. They also, in this motion, we're talking about really like personal wellness stuff. Like they had a whole slew of stuff on like guided meditation, yoga, all this kind of stuff where they were doing it in this. So you weren't just sitting down and watching something, you were actually participating and going through breathing exercises, because the Sensorium Galaxy is supposed to be the future of all your senses. So sight, sound, feeling, emotions, like everything. And this
Yeah,
motion.
yeah, and as you're going through and looking at this project, you can feel that. Like I can visually see where you could be, all your senses could be stimulated, and I do mean all of them, Ben.
Yeah, well, they have, Nintendo came out with the Power Glove uh 30, 40 years ago now, where you can control stuff with your hand and actually do
Yeah.
stuff in the game like this. And then, of course, we mentioned Ready Player One all the time, but they start, if you can afford it, they've got these full body haptic suits where if somebody touches your arm, you feel somebody touching your arm. You can actually really start participating in some of these live action events. And I'm not going to go any further into that story, but think about the possibilities of dancing, of interacting, of all the stuff you can do where you actually are engaging most of, if not all of your senses.
Yeah.
Your brain might just disconnect and you're lost in the metaverse forever.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of say that jokingly, but I think there's some truth to that, which is also what's so scary about it, is you could see where people would spend endless amounts of time in this false reality.
Right. Well, if you think about the movie Avatar, how that fella was in a wheelchair,
Mm-hmm.
so there was a lot of stuff he couldn't do. But yeah, when you plug your mind in to the metaverse and you're able to run, you're able to do what I mean. Think about the possibilities. Think about the people we know or the people that we've been around in our line of work that just sit in front of their TV all day and just, you're like, oh, geez, imagine them getting a cheap virtual reality headset. And now they really don't want to leave their house. Now they, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
laying on a beach somewhere. I mean, like we think about actively participating, but there's also the ability to not participate in anything. You could be sitting in a tiny 400 square foot, house with trash all around you. You turn a fan on and put one of those on, and you're sitting on the beach doing yoga with some, shirtless yogi. it's right around the corner. In fact, it's probably already here. We're just not into it yet.
Yeah. Yet.
And that's what, with the motion, that's what they were saying, was it's really the lack of content. It's really the lack of things to be able to do. And that's what they're trying to do, is get some content creators and start filling up these options where people have a reason to go in there every day, all the time. So eventually they'll have a desktop experience more immersive than what it is right now. You can watch videos of these concerts and these, what do they call them? Live action performances or something like that. Live action appearances. Anyways, these DJ sets where you can go in there and watch. You can watch the videos, but eventually they'll have the desktop, much more immersive experience, and the virtual reality immersive experience. But right now, most of it is on the mobile, and it's pretty limited to what you could do on mobile. Right now, they're really focusing on the avatar creation. That's where you get your AI generated avatar. And they actually use AI and AR. The AR is the augmented reality. So when you teach your avatar how to dance, then you can actually have it pop up, in your room and dance, and you can actually record it. It's like augmented reality means it's part VR and part real world. So say you're standing, I think they have a video of this, standing in Times Square and you want your avatar to do this dance routine that you've made up, you could do that, pop them up on your screen, record the video, and then post that on social media. And it could, I feel like we're going to see a ton of those in the next 5 years of AI NFTs doing stuff all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be crazy. Yeah. Instead of people taking selfies and,
Right.
exotic places or doing, next to a Lamborghini or whatever, it's going to be your avatar that's
Yeah.
sitting in the Ferrari.
Stuff like asking it questions, and posting their very strange, very much too real answers. So one of the things you can do with them is communicate either verbally or through text or video chat. And this AI avatar will learn things from the conversation. And, basically, so your imagination is the only limiting factor. You'll be able to communicate back and forth and start talking about this. They'll start learning. You can teach them stuff. They'll learn and then grow on it. And even when you're offline, they're continuing to learn. If they go talk to somebody else in the game and that person says, oh, well, did you know that Ninja Turtles also did this? Then next time you're having a conversation with this digital avatar, they might say, and blah, 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 because it learned it from somebody else.
Yeah.
I mean, it's taking the Gigapets and the Tamagotchis to the next level. Now they're not just waiting for you to tell them what to do. They're learning while you're not playing and then coming back and teaching you something. So one of the concepts that they talk about with these avatars is digital immortality. And so that I'm just going to read this because it's very, there's a lot to it. The avatar that you use in Sensorium Galaxy is not a copy of you. A lot of these games, you basically make your avatar that's you in this second world, in this second life. So this is not that case. This is an autonomous creature enabled with sophisticated AI, like AI that 5 years ago would have scared governments. You know what I mean? We're growing so fast that this little game will have very sophisticated AI. It can live forever in the metaverse. And so it's more like they described it. It's more like instead of making a copy of you, it's more like having a baby that grows up to have its own life rather than turning yourself into a digital copy. So you actually shape the consciousness of it. If say it says a bad word and you say, hey, don't say that, I don't want to hear that, then the next time they don't say that bad word. Or they say, hey, the Dallas Cowboys are looking pretty good this year. And you say, we don't talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Then they learn that and they know next time you're only going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, only talk bad about them, So you shape the consciousness of this virtual being. You give it a backstory, a set of preferences, certain dispositions, and over time, the avatars will be able to operate autonomously even when you, the user, is offline. They interact with other participants and they can engage in certain activities that you've allowed. So you can let them go off to the nightclub and maybe somebody interacts with them and, like I said, tells them stories or they tell them stories. Like you're basically giving birth to a virtual life and then setting it free in this world. Even if you were to, heaven forbid, pass away, you've created this NFT and set it free in this world, and it will live forever. Its consciousness will continue to grow. It will always remember the time you told them that the Dallas Cowboys stink and the Ninja Turtles are cool. And it's just very, if you think about the possibility of that, obviously if it's an NFT or, a digital asset, it doesn't atrophy. It doesn't fade away. It's there forever.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
That is insane. Immortality, digital immortality.
Yeah, and so that's available right now on mobile. Mobile's the only thing available now. Any digital assets that you purchase, any avatar, any clothes, anything that you buy or create right now, seamlessly transferred over for free when the desktop and the VR headset versions, when those are available. So that's what it's going to be like that's probably just a little taste. That's the tip of the iceberg of what it's going to be like in Sensorium Galaxy. Because if you expand on each one of those thoughts, if you think about the AI people or the possibility of, you know, a concert where there's no limit to how many people can be there and enjoying it, like there's so much that goes into all of those. That's just a taste of what Sensorium Galaxy. And on top of that, the Starship right now can take you to Prism or Motion World, but there's an endless number of worlds that they can keep building. Eventually, they'll have the underworld, which is where you're playing the games. Eventually, they'll have probably a movie world, you know, a interactive world, maybe just a full-blown Tinder world where you're going for dating. I mean, if you think about the the stuff you're going to be able to do in the metaverse and in this Web3 industry, there's no limit to the amount of worlds that they can put onto here. So that's it right now. The Starship can take you to one of two worlds, Prism or Motion. Most of what you can do is on mobile. But there are going to be land sales coming up. There's a lot of new projects coming in the future with Sensorium Galaxy. Land sales is a big one in the under. And actually, Ryan's going to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, this is Sensorium Galaxy is one of those things that they've got so many impressive things going that, and with the explosion of digital land, they wanted to get involved with that also. And like my avatar there. So they ventured down their own road for digital land here. And let me bring it back up here. Here we go. Oh, thank you. And so it was supposed to roll out in 2022. That has not happened yet. But this is the land portion under, discover your own to earn. So it's going to be a play to earn version. And here's an article that they just put out a couple months ago about under itself. And it goes into a lot of detail. Let me find my highlighted section here. So basically, it's this mystic world that's also going to be interconnected with the Prism world that you just went over. And again, Prism is to my understanding, is a lot of where these DJs are going to be hosting their events and stuff like that. So under their digital land portion will actually be connected in with Prism, kind of a collab, which to me sounds like that could be, that could be huge. If you can actually get the DJs involved with some of that stuff, but and it's also going to use the Senso token as the foundation to run this world. And you're going to have 100,000 parcels of land, all of them unique. They're going to be NFTs, but they're also going to be, so here it is, you're also going to have pathways to obtain resources and get revenue. So just like a lot of these digital land projects, they're looking for ways to create utility for its owners within the project. And you'll have the option to lend out the parcel to other players or users if that's something you want to do and collect like a rent. But they're also going to have the ability to upgrade these parcels with new games from what's called Under Play, which is a gaming catalog. And so, kind of like I was saying, they start getting into, the niche of digital land, how important it's becoming for Web3, and what their version is going to be on these 100,000 parcels that you'll be able to, I guess, pull the utility out of. You'll be able to kind of manipulate the land and have it produce an actual revenue for you that will probably have something to do with some of these major DJs and some of the celebrities that are going to be involved. So interconnected with under their digital land portion and under play, their revenue that's going to be tied into that land. You've also got these NFTs that they're going to be launching. It's a combination of different types of NFTs, but it'll include the land, avatars. You can see down here songs, clips, photos, and I was even reading that some of them, the NFTs will actually be event tickets to see DJs and festivals and stuff like that. So some pretty cool stuff. They're going to have these mini games within the lands that involve the NFTs. And if, you're probably starting to get the picture of how all these things are interconnected. You've got the land that your NFTs can, flow on, that creates a revenue that involves the Senso token that Ben's going to get into here in a little bit. They're also looking at being able to incorporate sports with these NFTs. So a very broad range. In order to do that, to create these digital assets, NFTs, they needed their own, they got to a position where they needed their own blockchain. And they had been working with this blockchain called Wakata. And ultimately, they ended up acquiring Wakata, and they're changing the name, I guess you could say, to Sensorium Chain. So it's just something simple there. And here's a little intro of what this chain is going to look like and what it's going to do for Sensorium. So you can go on there and learn some more about the Sensorium chain and the infrastructure that it's going to be providing for a lot of these initiatives that they're moving forward, like Underplay, the NFTs, something a little more beefy to help them get those done. Something else, and let me note, that's in connection with the Polkadot blockchain. And then they've also just joined up with Polygon Studios to help them accelerate and the development and deployment of Web3 projects. As we all know, or you and I know, Ben, Polygon is man, they seem to be either collaborating or providing the infrastructure for damn near everything. And Sensorium Galaxy is no different. They recognize they need some outside help with that, so they've reached out to Polygon. They've connected. They've also connected with Polkadot, which are two big names that are on my radar. So I love whenever I can see some interconnections between projects I already know that I really like. That's a go for me. If that wasn't enough, they had recently went to an awards, VR. Let me find it here. The 6th International VR Awards. And they didn't walk away with any actual awards, but they were runner up on multiple categories. One of them, VP or VR Experience of the Year. Experiences are what makes virtual reality come to life. VR Experience of the Year is awarded to companies that produce and execute a truly outstanding quality experience, which has resulted in positive user feedback. So that's a pretty good category to be a runner-up in, and you've got Sensorium there. And specifically, they were runner-up with out of this world experiences. And I shouldn't say runner-up; they were a finalist under out of this world experiences. They also were a finalist. Yeah, an innovative VR company of the year. And the winner was this Immerse, but they were finalists. Virtual reality is a constantly evolving landscape that requires innovative thought leaders to pave the way by leading by example through first to market developments. Additional points are given to the companies that place focus on their company culture, policies, along with how how sustainable their practices are. Excuse me. We've talked about projects before. Company culture within a company is a big deal. If you've got people within your project that are buying into the project within, then us on the outside, it's much easier for us to buy in too, because you've got believers that are pushing this forward and making amazing things happen. And their practices appear to be sustainable also. This is according to VR Rewards. So this was just at the end of 2022. So they've been recognized amongst a lot of companies for pushing the envelope forward on the VR stuff they're doing, which is a really, really good sign as far as I'm concerned. That is what I've got for the land portion, under and underplay, and then what they're doing with the blockchain, creating their own Sensorium chain, and then also some of these awards they've picked up here recently. So some pretty cool stuff. You've got tokenomics, which is the Senso Token. This is one of those projects I had to force myself to stay away from that, because soon as I saw what they were doing with this token, like I'm highly interested, but I purposely stayed away from it so I could hear it from you. I'm hoping it's going to live up to my expectations.
All right. And so the token that powers the whole Sensorium Galaxy is the Senso Token. Right now, it's 17 cents for each token, which is obviously one of those that I personally like, because I like ones that have the opportunity to run way up. This has a max supply of 700 million, give or take, about 715 million. But what's cool is about 500 million of those are locked up for use with the NFTs that won't be ever sold on exchanges. So that makes the circulating supply very slim, the amount of the fully diluted market cap. On coin market cap, and sometimes these numbers vary a little bit from what the actual numbers are, but it says the circulating supply right now is 10% of the overall total supply. So 70 million tokens out right now. The market cap currently is 12.5 million. And Ryan, one of the things that we always talk about is, if you're looking at a $4 billion market cap on some of the, back when Sandbox and Axie Infinity were at the top of the charts, there's not a lot of place to go. I mean, in order to 2x, you got to go to 8 billion, and that's just a ton. I mean, that's a ton of work. And I think that a lot of those projects are going to get there, especially with the way inflation is going around the world. So I think that I think that some of those projects will go above and beyond. They will 2x, they will 3x. But when you have a project like this that seems to have no end to its potential and a ton of huge, big named collaborations, and the market cap is 12 million, to go to 120 million, it has to 10x. And 120 million is 1/10 of a billion. You know what I mean? So you're like in 10, 20, 30x. At one point last year, when everything was hot, in November, actually, I can go back further than that. Let's see here. There we go. Last November, at its top, it was 315. So from 17 cents to 315, you can see what it's done. It's done what everything else has done, but it's had multiple spikes, which means here's when it was super popular, shortly after it first came out. Then here's when the whole market went up, and now here's when the whole market's gone down. But that thing keeps getting in the way, but with these spikes coming up and coming down. So I think, depending on the news, depending on concerts and performances, there's going to be a lot of shooting up, shooting down. If you need to buy some Senso to get a NFT ticket to come watch one of these concerts, the price probably shoots up. When it's kind of slow, it probably goes down. Good opportunities to buy. And then when it spikes up, if you're a day trader, if you're buying and selling, might be a good opportunity to sell. But
that's a good point.
If you don't think that this is going to collapse in the next handful of years, then you probably would assume that the price is going to come back up. And it doesn't have to come back up all the way up to here, to 30 or 40x. It could just hit one of, I mean, from where it's at right now, 17, 15, 16. Actually, at the beginning of the week, it was at 12 cents. But because everything's kind of had a little bump, like we talked about on the news this week, it's gone up almost 50% to 18 cents, which doesn't seem like a lot. But imagine 18 going back to $3.20.
Yeah.
There's a lot of room for movement. And especially when you look at the market cap, I mean, there's just so much potential with this project, and a market cap that this low. This is one of those that, again, not financial advice, that you can throw a little bit of money into and hope for really big gains, which it sounds like what Jay-Z and Rock Nation are doing. They've got several $1 million in the tokens. So with only 70 million tokens out there, you can buy a good chunk of it, for a couple of $100 at 17 cents a piece.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like just a lot of utility with this token. And I hadn't even thought about the up and down part of it, but yeah, for traders, that's a big deal. They like the volatility.
Yeah,
they like to see volatility.
They love the news. So, if you buy it when nothing's really happening, and then they announce David Guetta's hosting a live concert and the price goes up, you could sell it at the top. As it comes back down, you buy up again. Steve Aoki's coming, you sell it at the top. There's obviously
interesting.
Not telling you how to do it. I'd like to buy some and probably hold on to it, because I'm sure a project this elaborate is going to have the ability to stake, to, like Ryan said, to get some land, start earning revenue from it. That's really what I'm looking for in a lot of these projects, is a little bit of revenue, a little bit of cash flow. And I feel like the potential is here, especially buying something at these prices. So
yeah,
this is pretty similar to a lot of the other coins on these metaverse projects. The decentralized metaverse currency of the Sensorium Galaxy, it's used in all the in-platform purchases for NFTs, for games, for trading, for upgrading your avatar. It also is a governance token, and the amount of stake that you have, the amount that you have in your bag, determines your input on product level decisions with their DAO, their decentralized autonomous organization. So instead of having the 2-token system like a lot of them do, this is one and the same. So you're spending and saving the same token, which I think makes it easier. I think it makes it harder to spend, I would think, in the game, but it makes it easier because if you're not spending it, at least you've got the bag and you're able to participate in the DAO at whatever level your bag is. So yeah, it looks like the only other thing I had for the token was it allows you to buy upgrades for your avatar, subscribe to premium services. That was one thing we didn't really talk about, but when you think about Spotify and stuff like that, they're going to have the opportunity to have these streaming services, whether it's like a Patreon where you can kind of go behind the scenes and watch your favorite artist, or be able to do meet and greets, or be able to, go to the show. You'll be able to do all of that with this Senso token. And again, the fact that it's a governance token as well as the in-game currency, it means a lot of people will be buying these and holding on to them. And with only 715 million available, not even available, but in existence, scarcity is a big deal here. And with 500 million of them locked up for the purpose of, NFTs, futures, and for the team and stuff like that, there's only 70 million circulating Senso tokens. And yeah, that was actually my picture, what I got right here. Boom. And you're able to already buy it on KuCoin and MEXC.
Yeah, we love seeing MEXC.
We do. And again, with a $12 million market cap, it won't make a lot of the big platforms for quite a while. So it is nice to see that, but it's also on KuCoin. Ryan, do you have KuCoin?
I downloaded it. I never used it.
Gotcha.
And can you use KuCoin in the US?
I'm using it.
Yeah, but you opened it in London, didn't you?
Yeah, but I
Does
think
it
I
still?
did, but it's still working just fine. So
Gotcha.
I don't know. But anyways, yeah, you're able to buy this on MEXC or KuCoin. So that's SENSO, the Senso Token. And I think there was trying to remember what rank it was. It's so far down the list. It's
Yeah.
one that I think is just really undiscovered. And I think when you click on that website, you go, how are more people not talking about this? How are more people not aware of what's going on?
Well, that's that's what I just highlighted a minute ago, and I was looking for something that would verify it, but they were making predictions that they thought there'd be 1.8 million users of the Senso token by the end of 2022. And that's, I mean, I haven't seen anything that backs that up, but so maybe it was just a prediction. Maybe they're just throwing it out there. But man, if you got that many people using the token and there's minimal availability for it, and
Right, right.
you got head, you have some of the biggest game, like it seems like we're throwing a little bit of money at, I hate using that word. You don't want to throw anything away, but throw a little money at it. I think I really, really like it.
Yeah. Knowing that you can go get it from MEXC. So what you're seeing right here is literally the 24/7 live stream of this computer not animated, but computer generated music. All these are computer generated dancers. When you're able to get in, you're able to go up to these people and actually conversate with them, learn dance moves from them, teach them new dance moves, and then they'll have
Look at those
occasionally,
graphics.
yeah, occasionally they'll have the real world artists, the earth artists, the chosen ones will be doing these live concerts. So this is
Check your body.
check it out. So what I need to do is get some glow sticks and just turn this on the big screen on the 85-inch downstairs and just rave all night.
Abby, love that.
See what the neighbors think. So it's just very cool because this runs on the website 24 hours a day, nonstop.
Just
Sensorium,
streaming. Yep.
yeah. So Sensorium Galaxy, you got the metaverse. You click right over here on streaming, hit watch now, and it just plugs you straight in. So
that's wild.
Always new, always generative. I mean, it's not just repeat concerts. It's a computer. It's artificial intelligence generating music in real time.
Yeah. Supposedly first of its kind.
My computer's struggling to keep up with it.
Yeah. Man, awesome. What a cool project to follow along with. This will be a fun one to visit visit it down the road and see how it's doing in the bull market. Next week.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. Any final thoughts on this project? Sensorium Galaxy.
We were going to go over the copper score if you wanted to.
Yes, I forgot about it again.
That's all right. We're still getting used to it. We did 40 episodes without it, but now one of the reasons we're doing this copper score is to start ranking these. So when Ryan, comes into a windfall of money, or something happens where he's ready to do some investing, we can go to this copper ranking scale, see which one we've ranked at the highest quality, the most likely to succeed, and invest there. On today, Sensorium Galaxy, we gave the team a 14, project 15, which I think the more we dug into it today, I think I could even raise that up, but we'd have to lower something else down so we could keep it at 69. But the reason was 16. The area of Web3 was 16. And I agree with that so much, because this is what people are waiting for the Web3 for. When they're talking about, we're trying to produce enough content to give people reasons to come into Web3, that's such a strong reason, because the reason nothing else succeeds in Web3 right now is because there's not enough people in there actually using it. So someone who's creating use cases and actual entertainment in the metaverse, that's huge. So that's 16. The MCAR, the market cap, assets and revenue. Most of their assets, it doesn't seem like they have a lot of the hard physical assets. They outsource a lot of their technology, a lot of their camera work, a lot of their motion capture. Um, their market cap is obviously very small, so that makes it more risky. That might be a good play for investing, but it does make it risky. When you've only got $12 million and you're paying DJs like David Guetta and Steve Aoki. I mean, those guys command $1 million a show sometimes if the party's right. So
yeah, and what did we see? They've got something like 71 employees, or that some of the last information, and from their description, there's like 8 or 10 different offices too. Now, I shouldn't say offices. I don't know that they have offices in
right,
8 or 10 different countries or locations, but they're collaborating with all these.
right.
So, and that's, yeah, I take that back. That's probably more of what it is they're connected in all, a whole bunch of different areas for different reasons, but they have at least a couple offices, the main one being in Moscow, but you've got costs there with employees and
Right. Yeah. LinkedIn showed that there were 72 employees, and I'm sure that fluctuates a little bit. I mean, as far as people not updating it fast enough, we know that the CEO has changed in the last year. So there's stuff like that I'm sure is happening all the time. But still, 50 plus employees is a big company with
yeah.
only $12 million runway. So that's why we gave the MCAR was our lowest score, but it still comes out to a 69 because the rest of it was so good. I mean, with collaborations with people like Jay-Z and some Russian billionaires,
Yeah.
I'm sure if you needed to, that was what Ryan was hinting towards earlier. They supposedly raised a lot of money, but they can't really verify where it was coming from.
Yeah.
Probably for legal reasons, but yeah. So Sensorium Galaxy is now number 1 on the QOPR score with a score of 69.
Very fitting. All right. Well, that is all I got. Next week we've got the next episode coming up, and we're gonna revisit Sandbox. So we're hitting our 1-year anniversary of MetaMentors, and we're gonna start by covering the projects that we did basically in order, along with filling in with some new projects here and there. But we're gonna go back over all your major projects again and see what's changed in the last year.
Yeah, which I think is huge to go back to see what we were talking about coming off of the bull market. 1 year later, now in the bear market, we can compare the prices of the coins. We can compare the market caps. We can compare how far along the project is. We could see where the roadmap for each project has taken them, whether they've completed the steps that they were going to. That's going to start to really round out the picture of these companies. If we thought something was really good a year ago, but they had 5 or 6 steps that they haven't got over the last year, then it kind of drops them down in score, kind of says, well, maybe they're not really hitting what they need to hit. Conversely, if we're with a project that it's like, man, not only did they get this done, but they've also gone above and beyond in the last year. So it's perfect timing because basically next week is the 1-year anniversary of our Sandbox episode. So we'll be able to do a flat 1 year, basically from the highest of high to the lowest of lows. So
yeah, and I really haven't looked at Sandbox since we did that episode because we've been so darn busy. So it's gonna be a surprise, I think, for all of us.
Yep. And now that I'm back in the States, now that I'm back doing the gig work, I got a little bit more disposable income. So maybe we can retouch on these because I think I bought like 100 sand tokens last year and it's down over 50%. You know what I mean? So now it's like, okay, now I need to, if we go through it and it ranks up on our QOPR score, I can buy a lot more tokens at the prices that it's at today.
Yeah, get that average token price down.
That's right.
For when it skyrockets.
That's right, which it will.
All right. Well, yeah, that'll be fun. I can't wait to see how our QOPR score turns out on that on a big project like Sandbox. All right. Good episode, Ben. I will see you next week.